We've always had room in our hearts for film and TV, not just on Netflix, but tape and disc in theaters. Also, God forbid that they take it all away and leave us nothing to broadcast to loyal listeners. We'll binge watch every single movie, so you don't have to. What else are we here for? Coming to you every week. Listen to us while you're busy. Luckily, we forgot to grow up. Hey everybody, it's Craig.
Hey, it's Scott.
Hey, it's Andrew.
Welcome to episode number 10 of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast. We finally hit double digits. And
double digits!
We intend to keep it that way for, a while. Coming up in this week's episode, at least, right? In this week's episode, we are looking forward to 2018. We're going to talk about the things that we want to watch when they eventually come out. We're going to try to keep this episode nice and short and sweet, so we've only got the two segments because we know people have got exams, their preparations for the non-denominational winter holiday and things like that. And then we're going to close the whole thing out with our favorite segment, WWWTW, also known as What We Watched This Week.
What Would Jesus Do?
Formerly known as Dude, What Did You Watch This Week? And potentially in the future known simply by the one-letter acronym W, and it will probably stand for something like what? Anyway,
I like
in 2000
like huh?
Well, I was thinking more like CBC has Q. What does Q stand for? Questions, probably. It's an interview
John
platform.
Q?
So I was thinking, we'll just call it W. Why not? But
I could think of plenty of reasons. But
well, in the future, maybe we'll just have a symbol for it, like Prince.
We only use 4 W's in the acronym right now. So, I mean, just to shorten it down to 1 W wouldn't be too much. We just get rid of that whole T. Anyway, 2018, obviously, top of the list. Everybody's looking forward to, I don't know, Avengers Infinity War, probably. I mean, if I had to guess.
Most certainly.
I wouldn't say everybody, but at least
okay.
People with I would say taste.
Wow! I was going to say people we care about,
We're a minute
but you went even
already.
worse.
Scott's throwing fire this week. That's right.
I'm going to see that movie infinity times. That's so many times.
I second that.
I'm specifically building a time machine now so that I can watch it infinity times.
Yes.
I'm specifically making a cloning machine to make a million of me so that I can sit in a million theaters at once.
I'm doing the same thing, but instead of it doing me and cloning me, I'm just going to clone the $20 bill in my wallet.
I like Andrew's idea better because
then I personally get to enjoy it.
Far more practical.
The only issue
idea.
I see with your
I was going to
the only issue I see with your idea, Scott, is that how do you make it so the clones all share the consciousness of having watched it infinity times? Because if you clone yourself and put them in a bunch of different movie theaters, then each one of those clones only experiences it one time, and you yourself only experience it one time. So how do you have that collective feeling of all having experienced it thousands and thousands of times?
Scott, I've got the answer for you. I've got the answer for you. Scott is a new mutant. Boom. That's 2 movies I'm looking forward to for next week.
I like
next
that
week,
you put
next
that
year.
right back on the rails.
Man,
right back on the rails.
You got to try to
segue
back into things. You've already thrown enough fires so far. Let's try to fire extinguish this.
Yes, but what would you guys say is your thing you're most excited about Infinity War, and then we'll talk about other stuff.
Oh man,
I'm excited by the fact that I finally saw the trailer.
Yes,
that's pretty exciting.
It's about damn time.
Yeah, it took them long enough. We discussed they were trying not to draw focus off of Thor, but yeah, it took them long enough.
I am excited, I think, to see Spider-Man in the Infinity suit.
Nice, I like that.
I don't care so much.
I'm very excited to see that. I also saw, I hate that they make them. I hate that they make the breakdown videos of specific scene for scene what happens in trailers.
I only watch one of them.
Because then I feel like I've seen everything.
Yeah.
But one thing I did see and I did like, that was, it looks like Cap might have his new shield in it. Which is the shield that rather than being round, it splits into 2 shields this way. So he's got like a point on one end and then the big square on the other. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how they do that.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you had a new... I'm always down for new gadgets or new tools or weapons or whatever you call them.
I'd kind of like to see him try to throw it and see if it works, and it just gets stuck in someone and doesn't come back to him.
That'd be interesting.
Because then he'd just be like, I'm new to this.
That could be a
I'm
funny
Italian
moment.
all of a sudden.
Yeah, apparently. He's from the Bronx, or something. Brooklyn, maybe. I don't know. I'm not from New York. Forget about it.
It wasn't Queens. I know that.
Somewhere.
Was it Queens?
Okay.
Which one's Which one's Spider-Man from?
He's either Queen or Manhattan.
Well, see, that's the problem. Now I'm getting the two all three of them mixed
Shit.
up.
It doesn't matter. New York.
They're all... New York's just New York.
New York state of mind.
It's like the GTA. It's all Toronto to me.
That's true.
like actually, you grew up in Toronto, right?
Yep.
Wow. I'm actually partially offended that you're going to call Milton Toronto.
It's more Mississauga than anything.
This is a whole thing that goes back very long when I first discovered where Milton was, and I was like, oh, it's Toronto. And actually, it's like,
Oshawa,
it's not
It used to be in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. That's not related to Avengers Infinity War. Which,
speaking of big things that can be kind of annoying, I was kind of disappointed that I don't know where I'm going with this. I was going to try to say something about the Hulk, but then I was like, I like the Hulk, so I got nothing.
Yeah.
That was a shitty segue. I do apologize to our listener.
Well, I'm excited for them all to come together. That's what I'm most excited about Avengers Infinity War. The conclusion of all 20 some odd, is it 20? Is it 16? Something like that. Marvel MCU movies. So I'm really excited to see how they tie it all together. How they end up getting their butts kicked by Thanos, because I think that's the way it's going to go.
Now here's the big question.
Yes.
Who do you think is going to die? I've read a couple places that multiple people get offed.
Yeah, see, that's one of those things that I just try not to think too much about, to be honest.
Because you're going to cry like a motherfucker?
Well, that, and it's just there's so much speculation, and some of it's it's all it's a little bit of Hollywood politics mixed with storytelling at the same time. Does that make sense?
That's true.
It's a little bit too I don't like the fact that it's if Robert Downey Jr. decides to take a certain amount of money, he may be back, and so he might not die, but at the same time, it might also be that he's done with it. So that's the Chris Evans situation. Chris Evans seems to be done with it, so they might kill him off, but at the same time, maybe he changes his mind, and it's
see, I think Chris Evans is going to live through this one, but he's going to die in the next one.
That's very possible, and I definitely agree that there's definitely going to be some people dying. As for who, I agree with the main speculation around the three main guys, which is Iron Man, Cap, and I think the other ones sometimes people say Thor maybe. That's really hit or miss.
I can't see Thor dying because I don't
think
feel
so either, but
just because I feel like they're gonna try to follow
Pepper was another one. Pepper Potts was another one.
Pepper, man, that makes me sad. I like her.
Well, they say that was a random one I heard, is that but that was just one. But
better not be Rhodey. Dude's been through enough.
I agree with that. I'd rather see Tony die than Rhodey, to be honest. Just that guy's been through so much.
Yeah.
He was recast.
And we've been through so much trying to make it to this movie.
Yes, it's so true. And
it's been building forever.
Oh God, and it's when I think back about how long it's been, and even just looking back at how many I have to rewatch before it comes out, I'm just oh, that snuck up on me. It kind of snuck up on me. I didn't.
Yeah, you have to watch more than one a week now. You have to watch one a week with two movies kind of overlapping.
And I distinctly remember when I wouldn't have enough of them to watch in one weekend, and now it's oh no, I got a week and a half of binging, and I might get through them all.
Nothing but Marvel.
And it's not that I have much of a problem with it, but it does make it feel a little less
so
special.
much.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like work trying to get through them all. I'm gonna do it because it's work I love, but it's still a little bit of okay, yeah. Oh, I got to get through Iron Man 2. It's that one's hard to sit through sometimes, and little things like that. Especially since I've seen so many of these so many times. Because at first, the first 5 came out a little more spread out than these last 10. The last 10 have come out in 2 years. So it's
oh yeah.
So it's damn, we've gotten 10 in 2 years. So I'm not as caught up on those recent ones, but I'm also more caught up on them because I've watched them more recently. It's a whole thing.
Well, next year they've got 3 MCU movies coming out. That's nice Infinity War, which we just capped.
Yeah.
Pun intended. Ant-Man and the Wasp and Black Panther coming out in February.
Yeah, Black Panther is the first one to come.
let me chime in.
Yeah, I was going to say, I forgot Craig was recording with us.
Yeah, that's okay. I had nothing else to add to Infinity Wars.
It's because I can't see you, man.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
That's fine. The only thing I have to say about any superhero movies at this point is I'm looking forward to Black Panther. And I desperately hope that the trailer situation is not similar to that of The Great Gatsby.
Yep.
Because Gatsby's trailer was so good, and the movie was not. Well, and the Black Panther trailer looks so good, and I'm desperately hoping that the movie holds up to that.
I think what we're going to see with Black Panther, because he is a lesser known to most people character, like people who are like into the comics or into cartoons and stuff, they know about as much about him as they possibly can. But any layman out there who's trying to just kind of get into MCU just for fun, they don't know as much about him. So I think they're just going to make it a movie where they just jam to the tits as much action, as much cool shit in as they possibly can. Make Wakanda feel like a city off of Star Wars or something like that.
Oh, well, it is I don't know how well versed you are in the comics, but from what I've seen through like videos I've seen about comics, because I don't read comics.
Well, it is a very futuristic city,
it's very futuristic,
right?
so it does have that kind of feel. And I think there is going to be a little more story to it than you think. And I think there's a lot more, I think it's a little more popular than you realize, because it is the first main lead African-American superhero in the MCU. We had Rhodey before, but he's never been a lead, and we have Falcon again, but those two are more sidekicks. You know what I mean? They're the Robins to those guys' Batman, whereas Black Panther's his own Batman. You know what I mean? But he's African-American Batman.
Black man. Whoa.
No, I didn't say that. I said Batman.
We have it on tape. We have it on tape.
I said
I'll edit Batman. It so we have a replay section.
Right.
Did you hear it?
Right now.
I heard it.
Don't say that, guys. Don't say that.
That's what you get. That's what you get for burning everyone who wasn't excited for Infinity Wars.
Well, if they're not excited for Infinity War, they're not going to be excited for Black Panther, because
they probably already skipped. They're halfway through the episode already.
They would have just turned away by now. Let's be honest, Craig. But back to Black Panther. What do you think of it, Craig? Since we haven't got your chime in really. Except, no, you said you were kind of excited.
He's the one who kind of kickstarted it.
Yeah, my bad.
I said that I'm looking forward to Black Panther.
I meant to throw it to Andrew.
Yeah.
Andrew, what do you think of Black Panther?
You're just so used to me having no input.
I just said my thing too.
So it's my
I just said it looked.
Why did no one transition to me then?
Scott, what do you think about Black Panther?
I'm excited for it.
Okay, there we go. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Let's move on to that one.
This one I'm super excited for, actually, as weird as it sounds. I really enjoyed the first Ant-Man, and I'm excited to see where it goes from this. I'm really curious, and because I know zero about it.
They've kept it pretty under wraps.
Well, it's been kind of overshadowed by the fact that it comes out after Infinity War, and everyone only cares about Infinity War, and I'm like, I kind of care about Ant-Man, because Ant-Man is I think the first one after Infinity War, right? So the first MCU one after Infinity War?
I don't think Ant-Man's in Infinity War.
I think he's in it for a bit, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure.
Is he? I don't remember seeing anything about him off the top of my head anyway in the trailers.
There's a bunch of people who aren't in the trailers. There's been rumors, and there's a lot of rumors about it.
Like Hawkeye.
The reason I'm assuming he's in it is because they have a roster of
everyone.
Yeah, it's 50, I think, or 40 or 50, and it's that's. If they don't include them, they've run out of superheroes. So it's gonna be.
Well, I've seen those things on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, where it shows every single character. Mm-hmm. And I think what we're gonna see happen is that in the first one, you're gonna have a certain amount, and then when they do Infinity War Part 2, that's when you see the other guys kind of come in.
Yeah, you think?
And
so?
Any post-established characters or stuff like that, then they all come together, bring in the lesser.
Yeah.
Big name, so to speak.
The only reason I would say maybe not is because they're not filming them at the same time anymore. I'm not sure if you knew that.
That's true.
Because before they were filming it as one all at once, and then cutting it into two, and then halfway through filming, or before they started filming, they decided they were just doing one. They were just doing the first one now, and then they're going to start the next one, I think, at the beginning of next year.
Well, that's what I mean. Like they're doing this one, and then for the second one, that's when they'll bring in more characters.
Okay, yeah.
Like not use every character in the MCU in this one, because that's so many fucking characters.
Yeah.
Right in the first one, like that's so hard to get everyone in there when they have to introduce a story.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas if they bring in like the back half, bat cleanup.
Well, see, you're assuming they're going to introduce people in this movie, whereas I think
no, not in this movie. Anyone they introduce after the movie. Like let's say Infinity War is done, boom. Any movies after that?
Yeah.
Like you we're looking at what's her name? Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, introducing those guys into the lineup afterwards. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you mean in the second one? Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, in the second one. Yeah.
I still think we're getting everyone that's been in it so far is going to be in the first one, but not like heavy screen time. Like I think we're going to get like
a quick reference here and there.
Or
be
just
like, nope, I'm out.
Like more like a flash, not a flash, but like a pan over screen in a sense. So it's like a big fight, or like we see a quick I'm imagining montage scene where we're flipping between all the different heroes trying to help in one way or another, right? Because like Hawkeye is not going to be fighting Thanos, but Hawkeye might be trying to like help clean up some of like the individuals on the ground again, you know what I mean? So, but we might not stick with him like we did in Avengers, because there's a lot of ground level ones now that we have to go pan to. I think they're going to do I think it's going to be more of a montage, and we're going to see maybe potentially a lot of them die and then be brought back in the next one. I have a little bit, that's kind of my theory on it. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll see.
Bring back the redhead Scarlett Johansson. Fingers crossed.
I don't have a problem with her blonde hair. But yeah, we didn't really talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp at all right now, except that we're excited.
No, somehow you guys managed to circle all the way back to Infinity Wars again.
That's true, because
this should have been in an Infinity War episode, apparently.
Yep. Infinite reasons.
Should we move past the MCU then, since we've got a lot of other things?
Let's move into some X-Men. Are you guys excited for X-Men?
Which one are we talking about?
Anything about
New Mutants and Dark Phoenix.
New Mutants,
and even Deadpool too.
New Mutants, I'm very curious about because it has that horror vibe. But I'm not a big horror person normally, so it's like
no.
I don't know how I'm gonna feel about the tone, but I do like the fact that it's a new, different superhero movie, and I'm curious about who the characters are, and I don't know any of them whatsoever. Like almost every other superhero movie to date, I've had like some inkling as to who the character, like a little bit, like some random they were in one episode of an animated series I saw once, and it's like, oh, but I knew like who they were. I don't know any New Mutants, so it's like I'm kind of curious about that.
Not one.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious to be introduced to them like that. So that's interesting, like to see a superhero show that I don't have any back knowledge on already, or a superhero movie, that I don't have any back knowledge on already. So that'll be interesting. So I'm kind of excited for that. X-Men Dark Phoenix, I am hesitantly excited for. Does that make sense?
I think the Phoenix Force was introduced a little too early into this restart.
I couldn't agree more.
So having already seen a little bit of it in X-Men Apocalypse, it seems a little early to be giving it her whole thing.
Yeah, way too early.
But I mean, I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of X-Men. I love the cartoon growing up, but the movies were very hit or miss for me.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. They are definitely probably the ones I go back to the least. Out of all superhero movies, modern superhero movies, I should say, 'cause there's definitely older superhero movies that I don't watch as much. But yeah, I'm just worried that they'll screw it up somehow. Mainly, to be honest, I know a lot of people were upset the way they portrayed it in The Last Stand. And I didn't love The Last Stand either. I was really in love with the X-Men, and then The Last Stand came out, and I was like, oh, okay. You guys lost me.
I mean, Jean Grey was hot, but I mean, what else did it have?
Exactly, that's about it.
The same old story of Magneto being able to control the adamantium in Wolverine's.
Exactly, it's just
and that's it.
And then the fact that I've always been a, more of a stick to the comics a little bit. The fact that they tried to play a little more with the Jean Grey and Wolverine thing just because they wanted to do it in the movies always bugged me, because Cyclops' name is Scott, and I always had to side with Scots.
Don't they wipe him out in the first 15 minutes though?
That's because he was going on to film something else. He was going to film Superman Returns, so it was his own choice. But at the same time, it was because he wasn't going to do anything during the rest of the plot. The whole plot was supposed if in the comics, the plot focuses a lot around Cyclops and how he's dealing with the fact that she's changed.
Because he's a little bitch.
Well, it's his love that's changing into this like other person in a sense, and it's like, well, it's like that's just the angle they take in the comics and in the animated series a little bit more. They just take more from his angle.
I mean, I never liked Cyclops at all.
I could see that. No, I get that.
Screw that dude. And it's not because his name was Scott.
No, I know. I could get why you don't like him. The only reason I like him is his name's Scott.
Fair enough.
There was no other reason to like him. Like,
there's not a whole lot of good Scotts to like. So,
and the fact that he's the father of Cable, that's another reason to like him. Which connects us to Deadpool 2. Oh,
nice!
What?
You just pulled out a segue.
Wow, we're speeding these segues right up.
Yes, and Craig's just not commenting whatsoever on anything.
Well, because I already said that I have no input whatsoever when it comes to X-Men.
That's fair. What about Deadpool?
Because I didn't know anything. I don't know anything about the X-Men movies that are coming out, and technically speaking, I really don't know much about the Deadpool movie that's coming out.
But you do know you're going to go see it. Yeah,
obviously.
Okay, well that's
because
fair
the
enough.
first one was good. So what? How bad could the second one possibly be?
Well, there's
as long as it's not a whole movie done,
would, like, be evidence to the contrary of that argument you just said, Craig. There are a lot of sequels that aren't good, but I'll agree that Deadpool 2 I agree. I think it's going to be good too.
I think that the first one had such a high bar that it'll be difficult to, even if you deviate slightly from it.
Maybe he's just going to paint the whole story like Bob Ross. He's going to explain what's going on and just paint the whole story.
Whole 2-hour movie of him just like flashing back
pretending to be Bob
painting
Ross.
And then a scene that he's like telling a story about, and then back to him painting. I'd see that movie. I'd be okay.
I'd watch a 10-episode Netflix series on that.
Yes.
Well, he's getting a animated series eventually next year sometime.
I don't know if I'd like an animated series nearly as much though.
It's actually going to be written by Childish Gambino. What's his name?
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. Thank you.
I don't really have much.
You don't
affinity for his not for his stand-up.
See, I didn't mind his stand-up, and I didn't mind him as Abed. It's all his other stuff that wasn't for me.
You mean Troy?
Troy.
Yes, Troy.
You know, I only remembered his name was Troy when you said Abed, because I'm like...
Troy and Abed in the morning.
Exactly!
I put the words the wrong way. Anyways.
They were a couple of phenoms, but let's talk about the movie Venom.
Phenom to Venom is pretty... That's pretty special. M's.
That was a stretch.
Well, I mean, it's almost the same
Venom.
Phenom. There, not much has been announced about this, and I'm a little skeptical. I mean,
I honestly thought that this one was going to get lost in production hell or whatever they call it, or like post or pre-production hell. Is that what it is?
Truth be told, I kind of hope so.
I was part of that too. I was kind of hoping this never got made. Like, I like Tom Hardy. Like, that wasn't my problem with it. It's the principle around the whole film being made at all that I'm a little bit against. I'm just like,
I think live action Spider-Man, like after like the Tobey Maguire trilogy, is just hard to do.
I agree,
because those movies were so good for their time, especially the first two.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
but now there's been a lot of change in the Spider-Man character, which is all fine and dandy.
Yeah, no.
But he has so many things going for him. He, like, hero-wise, personality-wise, that it's like you have to do a 3-hour movie to be able to squeeze it all in.
Yeah, no,
or you have to cut a lot of his stuff. Like Spider-Man Homecoming comes out, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to completely ignore his spider sense. We're going to pretend it doesn't exist, and he's going to rely on this AI while he grows as a character. And that bugged the hell out of me.
He just hadn't developed it yet. Because at the end, or one of the post-credit scenes, I believe, they show him have a little sense of it. It's not the same as like his animated or his Tobey Maguire one. Like, they do a little bit more of a it's less it's more subtle. It's more like he gets this like tingle in the back of his, like, on his skin. Like, I don't know if you noticed in the Infinity War trailer, you can see that he gets that, like, his hair raises up, and I think that's how they're going to do his spider sense more. It's just more of a light kind of, more of a feeling than anything. Does that make sense?
Well, between that and his I don't even know how to describe it, like his acrobatic skills, like his reflexes were dumbed down a lot, too much for me. Like having he existed and he was doing a few things here and there. So Tony Stark comes in and brings him in as his hero, and he becomes the Spider-Man, and that's who he is. Yet he doesn't know anything about his powers, and then he has to try to figure out the Robo suit. That was too much for me. It kind of took me out. back to Venom.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a direction off that it'll be real hard to do, having not established any other main villains other than the Vulture, and hinting at Scorpion.
And that's the other confusing
and it's not
part.
even attached directly to the MCU right now. So it just seems a weird thing to do.
It's so weird. Like, they might be having Tom Holland appear, they might not. They might not have, like, it's so, like, up in the air, and so, like, it doesn't feel like such like a good idea at all, because it just, like, it feels like it's just a forced idea. Like, oh, we Sony needs a superhero movie franchise because we were the ones who did the original Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire, and we did pretty good with the first two, and the third one was we made a third one. Right, there's 3 of the first ones, right?
Yeah 3.
I always forget if it was the first ones or the second ones. That it doesn't matter. Anyways,
well, they it was the second ones they set up. But I think that one's hopefully gets lost, and that leaves one more real superhero movie, and that's Aquaman, and I think that one's gonna shit the bed hard.
What?
Yep, I think it's going to shit the bed. I said it.
You think it's going to be bad?
I don't want it to, but I think it is.
Why?
Reading and hearing all the stuff coming out of Warner Brothers right now, I think it might be a production nightmare.
I can kind of see where you're going, seeing, like, why you would feel that way. My only, like, counterpoint to that would be they've already been filming. So, like, a lot of the production stuff's already been doing.
But for, like, the editing and stuff, I mean, Warner Brothers has that bad knack over the last couple movies of stepping in and saying, no, do this, we need you to do this, we want this, when they're not really as devoted to what it should.
They didn't do that too much with.
Wonder Woman was a superhero movie that wasn't catered towards the superhero norms. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, it was a feminist propaganda movie.
Yeah.
Like, more than anything.
It's not catered towards your typical, you're going to get a lot of guys there, but it wasn't made almost exclusively for, your typical superhero crowd.
It was made to
Whereas Aquaman, what's it going to cater to otherwise? Fish? Like,
people who think they can talk to fish.
Okay.
People who have the wall-mounted talking bass.
In the 90s view of Aquaman, which was
I know Superman's a total badass. I know that. My problem.
Aquaman's skin just as tough as Superman. That's a thing.
Yeah, he's just as strong as Superman. I get that. I know. Like, the real only difference about it is he can't shoot shit out of his eyes, and he can't fly.
He's got a trident.
Yeah,
and he's
like I get that he's dope. My problem with it will be Warner Brothers stepping in and screwing the pooch.
I get why you'd be concerned with that. I tend to try to be a little more optimistic when it comes to my DC movies, even though I've been disappointed so many times. But
I love Justice League. We all love Justice League. But Warner Brothers, I'm looking at you guys right now. All the shit I've been reading about you guys, you're letting me down. And I got Batman right here. That's Batman. Okay, you guys are letting me down.
He's upside down there, though.
That's okay. He's still right there. This is what Warner Brothers is.
The trademark.
They're upside down.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna stay a little more optimistic because I hope for Jason Momoa's sake, whatever his last name is. I hope for his sake that it's good.
It's Momoa. There's no N on it.
Okay, so Momoa. Okay.
I know stuff.
I'm starting to feel like there's no end to this. So that's all the superhero movies, but it's not all things super. Next year, Super Troopers 2 comes out.
Yes, it does. Long awaited, at least for me, at least.
Yes.
I've been waiting for this forever. Kind of waiting. Like, not that we were expecting a sequel. We were just kind of hoping for another one, I would say. Is that the right way to put it? Like, it's not like it was set up
it was more hope than...
Yeah. And I'm excited because I enjoy, what is it? It's Broken Lizard, I think, is the name of, like, the production company that all those guys do.
Yeah, they do Beer Fest and Slam and Salmon.
Exactly, and I really enjoyed most of what they've done because they have this kind of crude, kind of just straightforward kind of humor that's just, like, a little bit rude, but I like it. A little inappropriate, but it's enjoyable. I think it's
They
really
get up
clever.
to shenanigans.
They get into so many shenanigans.
Say shenanigans one more time, I'm going to pistol whip you.
Hey, Farva!
What's that restaurant you like with all the shit up on the wall?
Oh, you mean Shenanigans?
Ah!
You're talking about Shenanigans?
Want a liter of cola? Great movies. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it too. How about you, Craig?
Absolutely.
I think it's the only one that Craig may have like more than one thing to say about.
Yes, maybe two things.
Absolutely. Again, that's about all I can say. I didn't like. I'm pretty sure I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But I saw it on the list. I was like, oh, that'd be good. And that's pretty much all I know about it. I saw it on a list today.
Well, I don't know anything about it either. I'm just
there. You go.
I just trust in those guys.
I'm looking forward to the entertainment.
Yes, I think
that's all I really want.
Is there a trailer up for it? I can't remember.
Google.
We should know this.
I'm working on it.
I think so. I think there's one. Yeah, there totally is one. I've definitely seen it. There was
some kind of like very like a teaser trailer more than anything, like 30 seconds or something like that. But I'm not sure. But when you did say that this was the only super thing, you did forget about the Incredibles. They're pretty.
Ooh.
They're pretty super. And
damn, I regret that because in my notes right now, I've got the Incredibles 2, two things below that, and I've literally been waiting half of my frickin' life for this movie.
I agree with you on that. Like, I've been waiting. This is another just like what we're just Super Troopers 2. This has been a long-awaited sequel, and I'm kind of happy that they've waited a while, a little bit. Like part of me is
because it's built the hype up so much.
Exactly, because we got past that point where it would have been just another
one to go.
Exactly.
So kind of like when they waited years to make Finding Dory,
exactly,
or announced it and then 2 years later put it out.
Exactly, that same kind of deal. And I'm just like, I like that a little bit more of like give it a little more time to not just go off of the hype of it, like more wait for the hype to kind of like die and then rebuild of just because it was a good movie in a sense. Like let it cool a little bit before being like, oh yeah, we can reheat this with a second one.
Oh yeah, it keeps us from going on that rampage, right?
Exactly, which was a nice transition into the next one because we're trying to
way to bypass me right into Rampage.
Which I don't know about you guys, like I'm excited to see it, but like I'm not gonna go out of my way to see it.
In theaters,
I'm probably not gonna end up seeing it.
I mean, I've always felt like I was telling you guys before, Rampage to me, I've never been a huge video game guy, but Rampage to me is just like a white version of King Kong. Yeah. Like that's how I feel about it.
Like when I heard they were first doing a Rampage one, I was like, oh yeah, I remember playing that game, and I remember thinking, oh yeah, that was the stupidest game I ever. Not stupidest. It was kind of fun, but it was the most pointless game multiplayer game I've ever played. Because you're not competing really. There's an endless amount of points to get, and it's just like, what's the point? What was the point of this? That's what started my like.
That game is the equivalent of Super Mario Brothers the movie.
Exactly. Well, except I kind of like that.
The movie was so bad. Dinosaurs.
But
there was a
movie?
movie?
It's badly good. Yeah. That's why I like it.
It's so bad. It's terrible.
It's one of those bad... Like, I enjoy bad movies sometimes. I have to admit that. Like, I like watching a terrible... Like, not terrible, but, like, kind of, like, cornily so terrible. Good. Yeah, slightly. Like, you can see they were trying their best, but they were, like, there was certain thing... Like, you could see that somebody thought that this was going to be a great movie. But... it didn't quite
at some
make
point
it
they
out.
decided that it wasn't going to be anymore.
Well, no, they thought it was. It just didn't translate to everybody else. Like they can see the magic.
They changed a lot of stuff from like the video game world to what's going on.
Nothing to do with Mario. Really.
Like, was it the Koopas? They're not.
They took the
like
names.
Turtles.
Yeah,
they're dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
And then Bowser's like a dinosaur, and it's a dinosaur world.
Craig,
instead of
put Mario
dragon
just above
turtles.
The what I tell you last week, the Ewok Adventure. You can watch it before Ewok Adventure
because I probably will never get to the Ewok.
You can probably get to neither of them, to be honest.
I'm never gonna watch any of these things unless they somehow show up somewhere, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've got literally nothing else to do for the next decade.
Well, you'll be riding solo.
Oh
wow! Transitions, man. We're just
firing
our way
it. I was
going
to do a 10-year transition.
No rhyme or reason, but we're getting through this list.
We got so many to get through, and we're already
solo.
This is not a short podcast again.
No.
Yes, I am looking forward to that. Why? Because it's freaking Star Wars. That's it.
Period.
We're talking. We think it might get delayed too, so it's supposed to be coming out in May.
Right now it's slated for May, but we think it's not gonna.
Yeah.
That's
not
too much
work
Star
with
Wars
Infinity
all
War.
at once for me, though. Too is if you do December to May, that's
6 months.
That's too much. I won't have time to have recovered from watching The Last Jedi.
Yeah, that's 2 and 6 months, and then you got to wait 18 months for episode.
Stop
10.
saying things like that.
Or episode.
That just makes
I'd
me
much rather
sad.
it be in December, and we talked about this
Give
before.
me a year.
I hope it gets put in December. It's my Christmas thing I like to do, and if Star Wars takes it out of Christmas, I just don't know what I'll do with myself. So I hope that they do end up moving that, but I'm excited to see it. I'm curious to see what they end up doing with it. But at the same time, this one I'm probably like I would have rather had the Obi-Wan one now before Han Solo, to be honest. Like,
oh, for sure.
I've always been more of a Obi-Wan guy than a Han Solo guy. Like, I love Han Solo. He's number 2, but after Obi-Wan. So, you know.
Definitely. Nice. Obi-Wan.
Exactly. Speaking of one, Ready Player One.
Oh, nice. I like it. Taking my role.
See, I know next to nothing about this movie. I know it's based on a book.
I know the trailer
I've
looks
seen
pretty
some sort
awesome.
of preview.
To me, all it seems like
I just
is
happened to scroll by and see Spielberg, so I mean, that
based on
that automatically puts it in a pretty high.
Yeah, to me it just seems like a beefed up version of Tron, and that's all I need.
It's Tron meets The Matrix, meets pop culture.
Yeah,
because
pretty much, because they've got C-3PO in it.
And you can be whatever you want in that.
Like, Deadpool, Batman, like
Harley Quinn.
or not Batman.
They've said there was a Harley Quinn. They've shown. They had the DeLorean. They've just got and that's what I'm excited most for about this show is to go see and watch all the Easter eggs.
So pretty much every Spielberg associated thing is thrown in there.
That's what I like. I heard
there
about
better be an E.T. reference.
Oh, there's gonna be everything like
Jaws.
Not just even his like Spielberg stuff because Spielberg knows everybody too, right? So it's
that's
Star
true.
Wars because he helped with some of those, right? Like him and George Lucas are buddies, right?
Well, yeah, they did Indiana Jones together.
Exactly, yeah. And like Spielberg almost did one of the Star Wars actually. Like one of the originals.
That would have been an amazing.
He almost
Star
did the
Wars
third one, yeah. That's actually how, like when they were talking about doing that is when they wrote Indiana Jones. That was one of those trivia facts I read about. For a Star Wars
Why didn't you include that last week, Scott?
Because it was a long one. It takes a while to explain. Because there's more to it than just that.
Okay.
Anyways, Ready Player One does look pretty good. I'm excited for it because of all the pop culture.
All right. Well, in that case, it's making its way higher up my list.
Yes, and yeah, that's all I rather to say about it. To be honest, I don't know much else about it.
Yeah. The only thing that jumped out to me was Spielberg, and then I was looking at it and I was like, "That's Tron."
Yeah, I might check out the book just because I always am interested with books that get turned into movies. But who knows? I also don't read, so that does seem like a challenge. Reading a book, but I don't read.
Reading is just inefficient video.
That's exactly the way I think of it.
You can quote Craig on that.
That is 100% the way I've always thought about reading. It was like, why would I read this book when I can watch a movie on it? And literally like a tenth of the time it's going to take me to read that because I'm a slow reader. Because I'm illiterate, so I can't read.
You lose your place. You have to start back at the beginning again, and then books get wet and fall apart.
And I have to listen to Hooked on Phonics while I'm reading. It doesn't work very well.
And then the BR.
The BR, yes.
I didn't get that. Anyway.
Oh no, that was
a Jerry D reference.
Jerry D reference,
yeah.
Okay.
So Scott, you say you don't like reading?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you've never read Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, where are you going with this?
I saw this.
There's a movie coming out next year based off Sherlock Holmes called Holmes and Watson.
But it's a comedy, isn't it?
Wait, what?
Yeah, with John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell.
What's this called?
I don't know if I'll enjoy that.
Holmes and Watson.
Oh, I didn't see that at all.
I saw that on the list, but I don't think I'll enjoy it, like I've said.
I'm hoping it's good. I mean, I don't have high hopes, but I'm hoping it'll be good because I've always loved Sherlock Holmes.
I enjoy when they do like random like kind of like one-offs with certain characters, right? Like certain characters like that are like cemented in history. We all know like the tropes of them, so we don't need to be introduced to them again. We can't, but it'd be fun to explore.
I think this one's going to be like accidental almost. Like he's not actually some genius detective savant.
And that's what I like.
I think it's going to be like he accidentally solves crimes and like maybe he'll put a few people away by accident and be like, sorry.
I like that.
But then I don't think it's going to be subtle enough because it's Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
That's true.
So
more like a Starsky and Hutch maybe.
My fear would be that like you want it to be that, obviously, because that would be awesome, and hope it would be that, but it's not actually going to be that because it's far too subtle.
Obnoxious.
Yeah, that's way too subtle.
Yeah, they're very loud is the other way to describe their kind of comedy.
I would almost think they'd be more on the side of being like they think they're the absolute greatest, and then they just absolutely destroy any hopes of ever solving a case, and at the very end they luck into it maybe. But that's about the only thing I can think of.
I kind of like that too.
I don't like that nearly as much as like a case where they're pretending like he knows what's going on when he really doesn't, and just happens to show up at exactly the right time. That'd be more entertaining, but I don't think it pertains necessarily to their style.
Yeah, this is the first time hearing of it, so
yeah, I saw it on the list.
Find more about it.
I'm making all this up.
Well, I mean, you do have some like reference points to go off of with those two. It's not like this is the first movie those two are going to be in together, so it's your assumptions aren't like completely off base in my opinion. But you know what? I was going to try to come up with a transition, to be honest, but I got nothing. A Wrinkle in Time.
That one, it does nothing for me. I wasn't super psyched about it, to be honest.
I saw it on the list. Curious. That's about it.
I am slightly curious about it because I remember the book being a little messed up, but slightly intriguing because it was the only like sci-fi book we read in high school, or were supposed to read. Again, I'm illiterate. I can't read, so I never actually.
I don't remember reading it, man.
I didn't read it either.
I think that was a year you were like. That was one of those like years, like it was during the year like grade 10, so like grade 10, you know how you like off switched each year, so certain classes did. It was a thing. Anyways, I remember reading it for high school at some point.
Grade 10 we read Green Grass Running Water.
I didn't read Green Grass Running Water.
No, me and Scott did.
I thought that was 11. Okay.
I was gonna say I had to pick
Maybe I'm
my
thinking
book.
9.
I read about the Halifax.
Yeah, it might have been grade 9 because grade 10 was definitely Green Grass Running Water because we had Gale
for
11, 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we had both Gales.
Yeah.
That's where I messed up. Yeah, but I remember reading a little bit about it and just being curious about it. I like the concept too, and it sounded interesting. But other than that, yeah, I'm kind of like, to be honest, my gauge is always, will I see it in theaters or not? And I probably won't see it in theaters, so I'm not super excited. But I am curious to see it. That's the only reason I wanted to bring it up. And it was on both our lists.
Thanks for helping us return back to high school. Next up, Mary Poppins returns.
Yes, she does.
I have zero interest in this.
Yeah,
I saw the title and went, hell no. If you can't put Bleep Van Bleep into a Mary
Bleep
Poppins movie, that is 2 references for anyone who's paying attention.
Family Guy.
It's
the Bleep Van Bleep show, starring Bleep Van Bleep.
If you can't put Dick Van Dyke into a Mary Poppins movie, and let me tell you that you can't put Dick Van Dyke into a modern Mary Poppins movie.
No.
Then I have no interest in watching it.
Mary Poppins seemed like one of those things they should just left alone for me. Some things don't need
sequels.
sequels.
Perfect. That a little bit too. Is I really enjoyed the first one, but I'm like, my curiosity is getting the best of me again though, because they waited long enough that I'm like, yeah, no, it's been like, she's almost dead now, to be honest, but not dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like. What's her name? Julia Andrews?
Wait, they're not bringing Julia Andrews back into it.
No, they're not. But like, what I meant by that is like, she's not young enough that people are kind of proposing that she should have been doing it or something like that. You know what I mean? So
I was actually really worried that was going to be the worst movie ever come up with.
Well, she has
there you go.
So she can't sing anymore. So I agree with that.
Make Mary Poppins 2, where she's like old and doesn't have kids of her own. Make it a super dark, depressing movie.
That'd be a different take on it. I don't think Disney would go that route, though.
No.
But I'm slightly curious to see what route they take with it. If it is like the same Mary Poppins, or if this is like a James Bond kind of takes the role kind of situation thing, where it goes from one to the next. I'm just kind of curious what they do with it. But again, it's in the category of I'm curious about it, but I'm not going to see it in theaters.
We don't have kids, so you can't go see it.
Exactly.
Which means you'll never go see Peter Rabbit with me.
Hell no.
You
had that on your list. I was like,
about that one.
Children's stuff.
I'm psyched for Peter Rabbit, man. Another Daisy Ridley movie.
I have mixed emotions about that one.
Yeah. Again, kids thing. I'm Craig on this one. I have just no opinion about it whatsoever.
I'm psyched.
That's good.
Just like I'm psyched for Christopher Robin. Which is Ewan McGregor in it.
What?
Okay, so now you've won me over.
Yeah.
Now you intrigued
me. Ewan McGregor plays an adult Christopher Robin.
I didn't know it was him. I knew they were doing an adult Christopher Robin, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, that
it's
sounds
Ewan
too
McGregor.
depressing. Well,
and it's got Robert from Everybody Loves Raymond playing Eeyore.
oh, now I'm excited for this because that both sounds
Yes.
awesome. Because he's definitely Eeyore.
Because he's just super bummed.
When I think back to Eeyore, I honestly remember his voice. I do remember his voice when I think of Eeyore. Just maybe a little bit more like toned down, but like his voice just fits so well on Eeyore. Just like, oh hey, yeah. Well, I do a terrible impression of him, but
hey Ray.
the cadence I was going for, or the tone, I mean. But yeah, I'm actually intrigued by that now. I'm kind of just like, oh.
Well, I hope I'm the reason you go see it.
It's. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters.
Maybe not go see it, but see it eventually.
I will see it eventually because I will watch pretty much anything with Ewan McGregor for the most part. I've been meaning to get to this documentary where he rides a bike somewhere, but that has nothing to do with this. You
know. Next up, I've got Wreck-It Ralph 2.
No interest.
None? Oh man, I loved that first one.
Another
John C. Reilly.
I liked Wreck-It Ralph enough, but like I'm not. I mean, I'll probably watch it.
I'm not going to go out and see it, but I'm excited to see it.
I'm not even going to look for it. Like, if it happens to be at my parents' house, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I'll watch that.
Oh, it'll make it to Netflix.
I never saw the first one, so I probably won't see this one.
Man, it was good.
Again, it falls into that kid category of, like, I just never... Like, I'm kind of like Craig, too. Like with kids' movies. Like, some of them I'm, like, kind of like, maybe I'll get to it eventually, but then they don't come to Netflix. And it's like, oh, well, I guess you guys didn't want me to watch it. Because we all know Netflix. That's
the reason I never saw anything past the first Cars movie. Like I've never seen
but
Cars
that was
2
unnecessary. Cars should have left it at Cars. They should have made Incredibles 2 and forgotten about Cars really 2, 3, airplanes, boats, motorcycles, helicopters, like all that shit.
Garbage cans, spaceships.
Yeah.
The sanitary engineers. The trash compactor. We'll go back to last week's episode.
Yep.
All of this anger is it might spark an uprising, kind of like Pacific Rim uprising.
Nice.
Literally don't care.
I saw the trailer for this and it made me be like, oh, I never saw the first one. I should get to that.
The first one was actually a lot better than it seemed.
That's why I never saw it. I always I expected it to be one way, but then I heard it was really good, and I was like, oh, I should get to that. And I just haven't gotten to it yet.
I mean, Idris Elba is definitely the best part of it.
And see, that's another thing I've discovered when I saw this new trailer. I'm like, I didn't know he was in the first one.
Seeing him in, he plays like the commander.
Yeah.
Seeing him in Pacific Rim is the reason why I feel like he would be an amazing Jon Stewart.
Okay.
Green Lantern. Like seeing him in that role is why I think it could work.
Okay, we'll have to check it out to see what you had seen or what you see.
Like I definitely recommend the shit out of it.
Yeah, no, like I said, I've been meaning to get to it, especially with this new one coming out. The trailer for it looked pretty interesting. The concept. I'm always a big fan of when a movie's got a good concept, because that's what'll intrigue you more than anything, is like when the plot or the premise of the movie seems interesting, and I like the premise of giant robots fighting stuff, so what's not to like?
It's kind of like The Equalizer for me. Like that movie, like seeing previews for it, I was like, it might be good. Mm-hmm. And then I saw it, and it's one of my favorite movies. So seeing that there's a sequel coming out next year, I'm so pumped.
That makes sense.
I will see that 17 times. Maybe not in theaters, but I'll see it 17 times.
You said The Equalizer?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't see the first one.
Oh man, you need to see it. It's amazing.
Is that Denzel?
That's Denzel.
Okay, I think.
And let me tell you, it's
fire.
The Man on Fire.
Wait, isn't that? See, I think that's why I've never seen it. I think I always think that it's the Man on Fire movie.
No, it's not the Man on Fire. Two separate things.
Yeah.
You're not the Man on Fire. Anyway,
that's
piggy fat fuck.
I had Craig's just being our backup stand-up comic today.
Yeah.
all I have is stand-up comedy references for you today. That's it.
That's all right. Someone's got to do it.
Speaking of doing it, how do you feel about the new Tomb Raider movie?
I actually think that looks good. See, I don't hate everything.
Optimistically intrigued.
Like
there's a couple
I'm
things
kind of in the same boat. Like I think it's going to be amazing with modern day, effects and all that stuff.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But I mean, I really did like the Angelina Jolie ones.
I really liked the Angelina Jolie ones too. Like I don't get why people are like. Sometimes people hate on it a little bit. I'm like, wait, what was wrong with those ones? Like they weren't like they were.
I think it's just people who don't want to look at it and be like, "Oh, she's a smoke show."
Yeah, and it's like, oh, that was part of it. Like, come on, guys. I'm sorry that video games in the '90s were made for teenage boys. But guess what? Somebody had to buy video games, otherwise they would have never been made, and you'd have nothing to base a movie off of.
And guess who bought the games? Teenage boys.
Teenage boys, and it's like, well, you gotta do something to draw them in, and sex sells to teenage boys. That's a known fact.
You know what else sells to teenage boys?
Violence, drugs.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. That works.
See,
too.
I don't know where I land on this one because I haven't seen Jurassic World yet.
Oh, that's
what? What?
We haven't got to like what we
It's been like 2 years, man. What are you doing with your life?
I thought it was like last year.
Contemplating watching Jurassic Park again. That's what I've been doing with my life. Every time I see it on Netflix, I'm like, yes. And then I go, I don't know if I really want to invest the time in that. But Jeff Goldblum's in this new one.
If you watch Jurassic Park, you're going to see it and be like, oh my God, there's so many references to it in Family Guy.
Okay. I've seen the 3 original Jurassic Park movies. I have not seen Jurassic World.
It's I wouldn't say it's like the best movie ever, but it is awesome. Granted, I love dinosaurs, so I see all the little side dinosaurs, and I'm like, oh, I know you, and I get super pumped.
Like, I could tell you're really excited about the fact that the second one's coming out, and I'm just like,
yeah,
okay.
For truths.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I mean, I should probably watch the first one first.
Yeah.
Yes.
You probably don't even have to, really.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd be more excited for it if I'd seen it.
Hey, did you guys see the trailer for it?
Yeah, I saw the trailer.
I haven't even seen the trailer for it.
What do you guys think?
Like I said, I've never been the biggest dinosaur dude. Like, I like it. Like, I'm intrigued, but again, I was never the first one lining up at the theater.
Once again, tattoo showing. Boom, dinosaurs.
Yeah. Again, I like fire, according to my tattoos.
Well,
I don't have any tattoos.
There's fire. There's lava in the preview.
Oh yeah, well that I like that about that.
The trailer.
Like, I'll agree with that actually. I'm kind of intrigued, but I'm also like confused if they showed me the whole movie or not. Because it looked like they showed the last fight, like the last scene. If the whole thing's about them escaping the lava, and I like the fact that I saw them running away from lava in the trailer, that kind of was like, did I already watch the movie? So that's my only concern about it a little bit, and
that's fair. I can see that.
And
it's dinosaurs, so I'm hyped. But
I get that. But are you hyped about the new Predator? Is what I want to know. It was a weird transition.
Not particularly, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They were not like I liked the first two they made, and I think they should have just left it at that. And then when they did Alien versus Predator, I was like, yeah, I should have just left it at the separate things.
Ooh, see, I disagree with that, but that's not what I'm talking about today.
I feel like the originals were just so good. It didn't. I mean, I'm the same way in all the horror stuff, right? Leave it as it is.
That's fair.
Don't keep going back to that well.
I partially agree with that. I felt that they didn't overkill it too much, but I might also not have seen any of the ones that they overkilled it with.
Like what was the one that came out with like 5 years ago? Predators or something like that, where they pick up all the people and take them to their hunting planet.
Yeah, I have that on DVD. I've seen it once.
Yeah, like it was good, but it was unnecessary to me. Like that first Predator movie with Arnold. Get to the chopper.
I think that's the longest we've had to wait for an Arnold impression in an episode.
We had quite a few movies.
But this was a legitimate Arnold one too. This wasn't us just pulling it out of our asses. That was the legitimate quote from that movie.
Very true. The only reason I'm slightly excited is I kind of hope they bring back an old Arnold in some way. Like he's the
just have him as like a crazy dude sitting at the VA or something like that.
Or he's the helicopter guy, and he's like he's the guy driving the chopper. Yeah, he comes and rescues them in the middle of the jungle. I would be like, that's all I'd be okay with that. Yeah, it's like
that is not gonna happen.
They wouldn't even have to like actually film him. They could just take his scenes from Expendables 3 and just paste it in. I'd be happy with that.
I'm in the chopper. And then have the chopper fly away, and they don't even. I think that was Expendables 2 because he says that 3 times in Expendables 2.
Potentially, you might be right. I get those 3 all blur together for me. I don't remember which one.
Was Antonio Banderas in it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, they're all the same movie to me.
I said,
I'm not gonna be able to answer that question.
I can only tell you the difference between them by who the enemy was, and even that I'm not sure about the order of.
Well, at least in Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, we know who the bad guy is.
Because he's the,
and that's
he's the main guy, right?
Oh, do we?
I think so.
Some of us don't.
Well, okay. So I think me and Craig are both in the then.
Some of us saw one Harry Potter movie.
Wait.
And that's it.
Where were you our whole childhoods?
And I didn't care.
Were your parents really against it?
No, I just didn't care.
That sounds like
I lost interest. I read the first 3 books. I saw the thick.
Oh, okay. So you read some of them.
For a kid that read so much damn stuff, I saw the whatever it's called, the Order of the Phoenix, and went no. I'll go read the Lord of the Rings, and literally everything else in that universe before I read any more of this garbage. And I saw the first one in theaters, and that was it.
See, for me, I mean, Harry Potter's always been a huge thing for me. Like, I've always connected with him.
Yeah, that makes
like
sense.
Those guys who have had loss in their life, like I said in our prequel episode. Yeah. Call back. I've always had like a connection and have been drawn to that sort of thing. So that's why I love Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. So I'm not a fan of Johnny Depp in a lot of stuff, but I am excited to see him in that.
Yeah, I just haven't gotten to Fantastic Beasts yet, to be honest, because it has been added to Netflix. So that's just why I haven't gotten to watching it.
It's on Netflix.
Fantastic Beasts?
I'm sure it's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it is.
Looking it up.
And I missed it getting added.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
I might have missed it getting added, to be honest. But if it is, then I'll
like
definitely
that
have to
time
watch
that
this weekend or tomorrow.
That time they added Family Guy and Andrew and I didn't know.
But yeah, I really liked Harry Potter growing up as well. I maybe wasn't the biggest Harry Potter fan, but I enjoyed all the movies. I've read all the books.
It's not?
No, it is not.
Okay,
oh, man, I could have sworn it used to be.
It might have been for a
because it's trying to tell me things that are related.
Anyways, I've been meaning to get to it. I'm curious where they're going with this new trilogy. I'm happy for J.K. Rowling being able to make more billions of dollars and be more rich. Yeah. But I'm like, you know what? I'm proud of her for waiting so long. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's been long enough that it doesn't feel like she's doing
it's like dry and then.
Yeah, cause like I feel like there's a genuine. She had a story that she wanted to keep telling, and I'm curious about that. I'm still like I said, I do want to watch Fantastic Beasts, the first one. I just haven't gotten to it yet, but I will because I'm curious, and I'm curious about this next one coming up. But
it's not like Bumblebee where you feel like they kind of just pulled it out of their ass.
Thank
Do you think that one's actually going to get made? I'm still.
Well,
I'm
it is.
You say that. Well, is it in post-production, pre-production?
Okay, you want me to look that up?
Well,
because
yeah,
I don't even know what
this
is.
Craig, yeah. Well, yeah, because I didn't see it on my list when I was looking up ones, so that's why I'm curious if it is post or pre-production, or if it's still in that area where it can get delayed. Because I'm
Andrew's list.
I still haven't watched the new Transformers because Transformers lost me when they brought in Marky Mark. As much as I love Marky Mark, he didn't do a great job in that movie, and the movies have just got like the quality has just never stepped up. Like they never had a plot, like a story that I liked, and it's just like.
Well, that's because it wasn't even really a plot. There were so many holes.
Exactly. And
it made no sense. It was just, let's kill Optimus Prime and let's bring him back because... But to me, I like that because that's what they did in the cartoons.
Well, see, I didn't have as much problem with
the original Transformer cartoons. They kept wiping people out and then bringing them back somehow.
Well, see, I'm a fan of superheroes, so obviously I don't mind them bringing people back from the dead. I just like a little bit more like... A little more thought into a story than, every like all of them are about there's this artifact that the human people have to protect from, the humans have that they now have to protect from, what's it called, and the Autobots are defending them, and it's just so like I feel like I can write I feel like I could write a Transformers right now.
You should, because I'll go see it, Scott.
We'll see, it would be better.
And we can use my video. We can use my light for all the lens flares.
Yes.
And we'll come
What's
to
that?
Toronto.
Oh, it's a meteor coming.
Come to Toronto and film it there. Say it's Chicago.
Hey, we'll just film it in my. We'll film it in my dining room.
Nice.
There we go.
That'll work. We just gotta,
and then we'll pretend we turn into cars and we'll just have Tonka toys.
It's the exact same thing because they only use green
exactly.
We'll CGI.
We'll paint my living room green and do the entire thing in post, which is where the Bumblebee movie is.
It's in post already.
What? Nice.
Boom.
Yeah.
Segue.
Boom.
Yeah, it's in post.
I'm saddened by that thought. So I guess it is going to get made.
Well, either that or it's going to be entirely cut in post.
Yeah.
All of it.
Know.
Nice. Was that a cut and paste joke?
Well, yeah, if you want it to be. That
I
wasn't
want it
the
to
intention. I like that better.
Okay, I've got 2 more things on my list.
Okay.
And then I have some surprises.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is an animated Spider-Man movie.
Yes. I'm curious about this. I'm not usually a big animated fan, but the trailer intrigued me.
I'm skeptical. I mean, Marvel, I can't remember the last time they made a good animated movie that I enjoyed.
I literally couldn't tell you one.
Like I like their like animated TV shows from when we were kids.
Yeah, when we were younger, like before Marvel Studios came around, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like Marvel Studios, great movie studio, terrible TV studio.
It's awful.
Terrible, like the worst. Like.
So I have high hopes for this because the Spider-Verse has always been interesting to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, like having Spider-Pig and like shit like that,
I love that
unnecessary.
Shit. When I learned about all that, like I'm not a comic book reader, so obviously I don't know too much about it. But like when I heard the fact that they have that exist, I'm just like, good for you guys. Like do something. Like thank you. That's what I love about comic books themselves is that they have such a wide range of just story. They'll go anywhere. They will go anywhere. They will put a pig in a Spider-Man suit and call him Spider-Ham.
Spider-Pig does whatever a Spider-Pig does. Can he swing from a web? No, we can't. He's a pig. Look out. Here comes my next movie.
Nice. What is it?
Ocean's 8. Now, I'm interested to see what your guys' takes on this movie are.
Okay, so that intrigued me because I was like, why are we going backwards? I'm pretty sure the numbers went up. But then I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's a lot of women. That makes sense. I won't watch it because I see it like a Ghostbusters thing.
It's got such a strong female cast. I mean, and it's got Sandra Bullock in it,
who that means you're saying
gotta love her. But at the same time, I do kind of see it as that same thing where they just want to take things and give them female and give people.
Why can't you give females an original franchise? Like I'm all for all female cast of them going to rob a bank, but why does it have to be called Oceans? Like I'm okay with it. Like I get it. It's about brand now, and I mean it's my job to do brand.
Make it Ocean's 13 or whatever,
14.
Whatever the next number
is. I
have no idea.
It'd be 14. Yeah, there's already 3.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, I haven't seen any of them.
I loved the Rat Pack original Ocean's 11 too.
Yeah.
So like it just to me for them just to hijack and be like, no, we're gonna take this and we're gonna make it this. It's like
yeah, it's
not for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's just like it's very like
forced.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I don't.
But it's got Helena Bonham Carter in it, so.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, see, I like the idea. Like the fact that like all they have to do change the name.
I think
and
it's going to be
like there'd be no controversy over this movie at all if they just put a different name on it.
Well, I think it's going to be like a crossover because it does have some of the original like Matt Damon cast in it.
I'm curious about that.
Because it's got Matt Damon as himself.
Okay.
It's got what's his name who plays Saul? Carl Reiner. Like it does have like a handful anyways of like the original cast thrown into it.
Okay.
But at the same time, like it did seem a little unnecessary for me to even try to jump back into something that hasn't been made in years.
Oh yeah, see, that's the other thing. It's like it's one of those random sequels that they're just pulling out because at one point it was popular and like I get it, and I'm gonna see it because I like the concept. To be honest, like a team of females robbing something. Yeah, I want to see.
Oh, for sure.
But I mean, the fact that they're just like it's that like what kind of on Craig's like maybe not as much like Craig, but like the fact that they're just kind of doing it as it's a gimmick, and I'm just like don't do it as a gimmick.
My only issue with the film is that they're putting it like they want it to stand on its own by calling it Ocean's 8. That and I mean I assume that has to do with the number of people that are involved.
Yeah,
but it would make like if you want to take the brand and you want to make a change like that, then why not just make it a damn sequel?
or a complete
don't take
reboot.
The brand.
Yeah,
like
make another Ocean's 11.
Again.
Yeah, like make an Ocean's 11 with all women. Like I get that's kind of what the 8 is. It's just like it's such a kind of like confused branding and like.
Oh yeah. Like they've got so many big female names in here. Like you got Cate Blanchett as like the main one.
When's this coming out?
Olivia Munn, Dakota Fanning, Sandra Bullock, Anne Hathaway, Sarah Paulson, Helena Bonham Carter, Katie Holmes, Rihanna, Mindy Kaling, Adriana Lima, the Kardashian hoes. Like they've got all of that involved. Like clearly there is brand and star power involved.
Well, when's this supposed to come out is my question.
Well, it's got Kylie Jenner, Kendall Jenner, and Kim Kardashian, so they're the Kardashian house.
I'm guessing it's just a brief appearance.
Yeah, probably.
It's probably more of a cameo.
But my point was like they've got a very strong female like cast involved, right? A lot of big women names, like strong independent women involved. So like it didn't need to absolutely be an Ocean's movie.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Something else.
Like they want, like I get. Women want
the
to feel
concept
empowered.
is good. I don't want the title.
Yeah, exactly. That's all.
Does that make sense?
Only problem with this.
That is my issue with it as well.
Like another thing is, like they could have. It still could be an Ocean's movie, and they could just come up with an original title, like, and it's still like, oh, you go watch it, and then at the end or like during it, you see Matt Damon pop up, or you see that reference, and then that's how you find out they're connected. Not we want to play off of this brand, so it's like, oh, it's Ocean's 8, but actually nobody's name is Ocean in it, and it's like, oh,
well, her name is Ocean.
Well, better
Cate
goddamn
Blanchett's name
be.
is Ocean. Yeah, I think she's like a cousin or something.
I don't know anything about this movie besides that it's a cast of females. But just why I was asking, like, when does this come out? Because I haven't seen any of this information that you're relaying, which I'm curious about.
Let's see if I can find this on here somewhere.
Bet you I can find it.
I'm just curious about when it's coming out because like I haven't seen any trailers or any like anything for it, like any like hint as to what it's about, what the like a featurette on it.
It's in post.
Sorry?
June 8th. It's in post.
It's a June?
June 8th.
Okay, so it's still another couple months before they would release a trailer anyways, so I guess that makes sense. It's just this is another one of those ones I'm interested in, but I probably will wait till it's on DVD, to be honest, or Netflix.
See, I'll go see it, but at the same time, I'm gonna be like, fingers crossed, like, just give me some Matt Damon. No, Craig, you were telling us that you have a couple of surprises for us.
Yeah. Okay, so I actually have one more thing on my list, and it's a movie that showed up in the during the previews before I watched Suburbicon, which made me think I was in the wrong film, or I was in the wrong movie theater. It's a movie called Winchester, and what really intrigues me about it is that the house that's referred to, and I don't even know if you guys have any idea of what the concept of Winchester is. So
about
and it was weird because it is. I heard about it on cool. I heard it about it on a podcast like days before seeing this trailer, which was really weird to me.
Yeah.
But basically, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, but we're just going to steam forward anyway. The man who invented the Winchester rifle.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's about his wife.
Okay, that's interesting.
And yeah, well, because there's at some point in his life she realized the whole point is that she's basically being haunted by all the people that are being killed by the rifle that her husband invented.
Just a lot of people.
And so she buys because she's got so much money, she buys this house in California, and it has just been an ongoing project where they just keep adding rooms and rooms and rooms and rooms and rooms, and none of it makes any sense at all. There's no real theme behind what they're doing. It's just a constant build.
Yeah.
So there are staircases that go nowhere. There's just rooms that are built on top of rooms that are built on top of rooms, and you have to go through rooms to get to other rooms. It's a horror movie, and I want to see it so damn bad, but I won't because it's a horror movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
And we are chicken shits at the
Exactly.
Forgot to Grow podcast.
There's no way that I'm watching this movie because I could hardly handle the trailer, but I love the idea and I wish I could watch it.
I literally
Between that and Slenderman next year.
Yeah, there's no way. I love the idea. I'll never get to see it, but I have two two little special add-ons to our fancy little list here. We can call them honorable mentions, but I was scrolling through the list of the top 100 movies that are coming out in 2018 according to IMDb. And one of the ones that caught my eye was a little movie called Samson, and that's a biblical film about the man who gets his hair cut off. But
yeah.
You know who's in that?
Yeah.
Freaking Billy Zane.
Yep.
That's
the one where it almost, to me, it looked like a Conan movie. The first time I saw a trailer, I was like, is this Conan?
Yeah. Well, Billy Zane's in it. And that's why I brought that up.
Billy Zane.
But
Billy Zane's been in like 3 podcasts now.
The other one that jumped out to me was a little movie called The Jungle Book.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And beside that on my page, I have What the Fuck? Because
you're both...
they're redoing
what
it
the
again.
Fuck?
No, see, I'll explain to you guys why this is happening. So The Jungle Book is based off of a natural book, and that's in public domain.
Yes.
So Disney doesn't actually own the rights. So when Disney redid one last year, I think it's DreamWorks or Paramount, if I'm not mistaken, is releasing this one coming out next year.
Let me look it up. But I mean, like, that seems like a bad move.
Oh, it's because
it seems like a shit movie.
It's the stupidest move ever. I agree, but they only did it because they had already started before Disney had already released it.
What? That's like the one company that's coming out with the Little Mermaid or something.
It's exactly the same.
Which isn't like it's based off of something, but it's not actually.
Disney one. Yeah, they're trying to capitalize off of Disney's success with their own thing, and it's like, well, that's not going to work. Like, you guys are hoping it will, but like, it's not going to. But yeah, that's one thing I like. That's why I didn't actually bring up The Jungle Book, because in my mind it's a non-movie.
Well, the only reason I brought it up, and it's not even as like a serious I'm looking forward to seeing
holy
this,
shit, it's got Andy Serkis in it.
Intrigued.
Andy Serkis is the damn director.
Yeah, I know.
It has Kate Blanchett, Christian Bale, and Benedict Cumberbatch in it.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's got a cast.
Like, this has got a good cast.
Yeah.
Why have I never heard of this?
Because they just made one. They didn't make one, but one was just made.
Fuck, Jesus, man.
Yeah, so that's coming in October. And it's in post already. So yeah, those were the 3 things that were on my list that weren't on your list, that I felt like I wanted to touch on.
Nice. The only thing that was on my list that wasn't on Andrew's, because me and him pretty much had the same taste, other than children's movies, is he was missing.
Thank you for saying movies, because that could have been real creepy, real fast.
That's true. My bad. I should have said kids.
Yep.
Young people's movies.
There we go.
But you missed a musical that's coming out next year, which I think you intentionally missed because I think you hate ABBA. But Mamma Mia 2 is coming out, and I'm just kind of like, I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I have no desire for that.
Between that and Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm not overly psyched.
Bohemian Rhapsody is a biopic.
I've just heard that Bohemian Rhapsody isn't great.
That's a biopic, though. That's not a musical.
Well, it's based around music.
Yeah,
I'm not like overly psyced about it.
Yeah, but Mamma Mia is an actual musical. Is my difference.
I'd rather just watch their live aid.
I know you. I didn't think you did. I didn't like it, but I kind of do. Like, I don't know. It's like it's probably my one guilty pleasure if I had a guilty pleasure. Like, if I believed in guilty pleasures, because I don't feel guilty about it, but I do kind of enjoy it sometimes. I don't know why. I've always kind of liked ABBA in a weird way. I think it's the sing-alongness of it. But I'm mainly just curious about what the second one is, because to my knowledge,
it'll probably be like My Big Fat Greek Wedding too.
I think so.
Like, it'll just be down the road.
Yeah, but I'm just curious because I'm like, I knew like the first one was based off of the play, and I'm like, is there a Mamma Mia 2 the play? Like, is that a thing?
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So that's why I'm a little curious about it, and I just wanted to bring it up because we didn't have any other musicals, and I don't like to be biased, which is not true, but.
That's we're just gonna throw that in there.
Yep. But what else should we just hop into?
Right into www.tw. It's like a website, www.tw.com.
You know, I hope for Christmas this year I get a better name for this segment for Christmas.
Yeah. Hey,
no, I refuse
Santa,
to
that's
give
what
it up.
we're asking for.
That's all I'm asking
you can come up with whatever names you'd like to.
It's...
I'm continuing to run www.tw in the intro, no matter what. So who wants to go first on their what we watched this week?
Well, I watched Psych the movie.
Of course you watched Psych the movie because you did that at my house, which I still have dog hair everywhere, by the way. Let's just take a step back.
Welcome to my life, man.
I was at work going for lunch, and I picked up my cooler, and I was like, there's a freaking dog hair on this.
Yeah, Roxy's hair gets stuck in everything.
Yeah. So yeah, Psych the movie.
I thought that,
and it was awesome.
I didn't know that was already out.
It aired on USA on Thursday.
That's why I did. Okay, I thought that
it went straight to TV. Well, obviously it went straight to TV.
Well, you say that, but I for some reason had this thought in my mind that it wasn't. But that makes more sense, and I'm gonna have to.
Yeah,
get to that.
I'm pretty sure USA probably paid for it. So.
Well, no, yeah, that makes sense. I honestly just didn't put a lot of thought into. I'm excited to see it. I just didn't think. I assumed a bunch of stuff about this movie that were just false assumptions for a TV show.
It was hilarious.
It was great.
I stand by it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm gonna definitely be checking it out. Like I said, I thought that the hype I had seen this week for it was a trailer being released. That was out.
That was it.
Nope.
So yeah,
yep, it is out.
Just a little behind. I'm gonna have to get to that. That'll be what I watched next week for me, to be honest. What else did you watch this week, though, guys?
What did you watch, Craig?
So
I feel like our stuff is pretty much the same.
I watched Psych the movie. Thanks to Andrew, I watched Last Man Standing, and I'm gonna let you talk about that because you've watched more of it. I think I've seen 3 episodes this week.
Oh, I've seen 3 seasons in the last 3 days.
Exactly.
Did you guys
but I did watch.
I just started it the other day.
You hadn't seen it before.
No, I'd never seen it. No,
I thought you guys were rewatching it.
It's been in my queue for a while, but I'd never started.
I just assumed you guys had watched it
because of the other thing.
I love that show.
I've seen it.
I've already watched it too.
See, for me, that show, I feel like it speaks to me on a spiritual, fatherly level.
I could see that.
Because I hope to be like Tim Allen's character.
Same. Well,
he's just man enough.
I hope I don't have 3 daughters, though. I want to do.
I do hope I have 3 daughters. So.
But I like it because it to me reminded me a lot of it reminded me of just a different Home Improvement. As stupid as that sounds,
I like that the entire show is just I'm 3 seasons in, and they have so many references to other Tim Allen things crammed in there.
It's my favorite thing. Have you seen
there's the one episode with the owner of that restaurant who's his middle kid from Home Improvement, and he gives a whole spiel about why the middle kid is the best kid.
Yeah,
they have his they have his partner on the show from Home Improvement come in and be the drunk architect. And then there's one thing, and I laughed at it. He was doing his vlog, and he needed to sign off, so he pauses the video and he's like, "Hey man, what can I say?" And what was it? It's the same as Live Long and Prosper, but it's from Galaxy
it's the one
Quest.
From Galaxy Quest.
Oh. Galaxy Quest.
God damn! Now it's bothering me.
Yeah, it's bugging me too. But the guy pitches it, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to use that," and he uses it. And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's Galaxy Quest!" So it's got so much it's like any other sitcom really with a comedian at the helms where they put their jokes into it.
With a legit a seasoned comedian,
Yeah, but he uses references to his other movies and other TV shows. And
it's great.
Slid in there.
Yeah. No, I when you guys mentioned it before, I thought you guys were just talking about watching the most recent season. I didn't realize you hadn't seen it before.
I had never seen it.
Because I would have recommended this long ago. Because I really enjoy it. Because it's the same level of funny as Home Improvement, I think, but just different scenarios. Because now he's dealing with girls, and he's a different person. And I connect to him because he's a marketing guy.
The one thing I'm not a fan of, and we've touched base on this on other episodes, is when they take an older person and put them into a teenage character. The middle daughter, Mandy, is a fucking smoke show, and she should not be 17 years old.
No, in
that show, because she's mid-20s in real life. So you're like, okay, it's not creepy, but you still feel kind of creepy.
It's weird in the show because you're like, wait.
Because she's 31 now, so she's older than us.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her, I'm like, okay, I know you're 23, 24 here, but I still feel gross.
This is weird. Why do you guys could have bumped it up? I get you on, why couldn't you just cast somebody the right age? I don't get it.
Or even the oldest daughter and her boyfriend / baby daddy. they're supposed to be like 21 and they look 35.
Oh no, like I know, like especially as like each season goes on, they all get like so much older, and I think
the only one who looks the same is Eve, the youngest daughter,
is the weirdest thing,
who's always underage.
She's the youngest, so you'd think she would have grown the most.
Yeah,
but it's all the old
and
people
Tim
who
Allen
changed the most. Yeah,
they're the only ones who look the same.
Well, he's been the same for like ever. Like
15
like
years,
I remember him in like
Forever.
Home Improvement, and then him in Gray. I don't remember the in-between period.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Well,
true.
the in-between period happened in the Santa Claus, in that time where he transitioned from the young man to the old man. And
That's
we
true.
missed it,
That's
and that's
true.
what happened. See,
if you guys ever saw Zoom
What was it,
Academy.
Old Dog he was in? That was a good movie.
Yeah, he was starting to go like
So
he was salt and pepper there a little bit.
Yeah.
The catchphrase from Galaxy Quest is "Never give up, never surrender."
Never
That's
give
what
up,
it
never-
was.
By the way.
How did I
That's what it
forget
was.
that? That's my favorite.
I know that was
Yeah.
why
Never
it was
give up.
bothering me too.
Never surrender.
But I did watch another thing with Tim Allen in it, which kind of sparked the Last Man Standing conversation with Andrew and I this week too. A little film called El Camino Christmas.
Oh yeah,
And
how was that?
Yeah, it was good. It has Tim Allen, is his name Kurtwood Smith?
Yeah.
From That 70s Show.
That 70s show's Kurtwood. That's the
has
dad.
Dax
cool.
Shepard in it, and it has the actress who's at least tied, if not passed, Aubrey Plaza in terms of my favorite actresses, Michelle Milett, who's Katie Cat on Letterkenny. That's the show.
It also has a very pregnant Jessica Alba.
Yes, I almost buried the lead. Jessica Alba's pregnant.
It's not ours, guys.
Allegedly.
Well, it's not mine. I
So
don't know
watch
about yours.
It's a good movie. It's I think it's well done. It kind of gets touchy-feely at the end,
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
but it is entertaining.
I need Christmas movies to watch this
It's
week.
kind of a It's kind of a comedy. It's not a super Christmassy movie.
That's the best
It's
kind
not
of
a
Christmas
super
movies.
it's not a super touching movie.
Again, best type.
It's kind of a good it's a healthy combination of anything. It's not a comedy, it's not an action movie, it's not a drama, it's not a touchy-feely movie, it's not a Christmas movie.
Right on.
It's all of those things, but it is not one of those things.
Okay.
Whoa.
So that is what I watched this week. I also watched Craig Ferguson's new special, Tickle Fight, and that guy looks nothing like Craig Ferguson. That
No.
is the guy who abducted Craig Ferguson,
That's a correct
stole
crackhead
his
Craig
What are you
voice.
talking about? That's
He looks
both of those
nothing like
statements are
Craig
just
Ferguson.
not true at all. Like
He doesn't look
What?
like Craig Ferguson.
because he has
looks
a
nothing
beard.
like
Have
him.
you
Both
did you
are
have you seen
beardist.
Craig Ferguson ever?
I watched every single night of his stand-up talk show.
His talk show.
Yeah.
Man, his
Difference
How do you
everything
even say
Craig
he doesn't look
Ferguson I've
anything
ever
different?
seen, he's skinny, he's suited up, his hair is taken care of,
And he's
typically
shaved.
clean shaven.
That's one thing he was on.
What?
That was his talk show. That was the only thing. Like in
No, every
in
other
No,
time
Jurassic
I've seen
all
Craig
his
Ferguson.
other stand-up
his
comedy.
stand-up specials,
And he was
any
literally
of
on
his movies
coke
I've seen him
then.
in. And
sobered up.
when he was on the Drew Carey show.
Yeah, he was coked out
Yes,
on
I know
that.
he's sobered
He was
up.
always coked out on that.
I know.
And people put on a little
I
weight
know.
in their age. He's not like fat.
He just doesn't look
He
like
still
Craig
looks
Ferguson.
entirely different. He doesn't.
He's
no,
hilarious.
And even his
He
delivery
sounds like
is totally
Craig
different.
Ferguson. I liked it. That was the point.
What?
The point of the whole thing was that I enjoyed Tickle Fight.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay. The joke was a little bit weird, but
The tickle fight one? Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of
couple
his
ones that were
sideways turned and like rubbing the side of his mouth joke. That
See,
was a little. That was a little
I disagree
too graphic
with
for
you
me.
there.
It was funny, but it was
en-
too graphic
There
for
was a
me.
I
couple,
quite
like,
enjoyed that.
points he went a little too far, in my opinion, too. I can't remember an exact one.
Talking
now.
about cat ladies, that hurt my feelings.
That was funny though too.
That hits close to home.
I was on his side. But no,
And then
I
the
really enjoyed his one, too.
I liked Tickle Fight. It was funny, but the one stand-up comedy special I did watch this week that I've been waiting for ever since they advertised the return. I've been waiting to see Judd Apatow's return to stand-up comedy.
I watched it just before
And
we recorded.
It is like, okay, so it starts off fairly like it's a stand-up comedy special. There's nothing really special about it, but I think the turning point is when he starts to talk about Bill Cosby, because his Bill Cosby bit is one of the funniest things I've seen in a while.
I agree, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know how it's going to be received by people.
I don't care how it's received by people. I was on my couch and I was crying laughing because his Bill Cosby was spot on.
It was pretty spot on, and it was very like it was so spot on to his like type of comedy too. Like that's exactly how you would tell that.
The delivery was perfect. The voice was perfect. The material was topical.
I'm just concerned for his sake for the backlash. That's all. And I get that he's a comedian.
I don't think he cares either.
Well, no, I get that. I'm just saying, like, that's all I was concerned about with that one.
He's made all kinds of stuff that's gotten backlash.
Yeah, no.
He kind of built his career off like being
off of getting backlash. Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me. And then I did enjoy his bit about Obama as well.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good It was a good special. This is the first time I've seen him. I've seen a lot of his work apparently that I did.
That's because
I know he
hasn't
a break
actually done that.
I know. I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast
20 plus years.
I
haven't listened to Joe Rogan.
Oh, he was on Joe Rogan for like 3 hours talking about this special and about his whole life. So like I feel like I know Judd Apatow very well. Plus he has his own podcast that I check.
I feel like Judd Apatow is just like every guy.
Yeah.
Which is like his starting joke. He's like,
yes, it is.
I look like this guy and this guy and this guy.
That joke I felt was a little like not well received. Like I
thought it was funny.
No, I liked the concept. I felt the audience didn't like get it or like wasn't quite on the same page because he was kind of insulting all the dudes in the audience. He was saying, "Hey guys, I am equally as good looking as all you," which is kind of calling everybody uglier than, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I think the whole point of it was to say he looks like just a normal guy.
Well, I agree.
I mean, his name is plastered on so many things. Yet, I mean, I'd never be able to point him out on the street.
I agree. Like, I like that joke. I'm just saying the audience I felt didn't get. I just felt it didn't play to that audience properly. Was all. I felt the audience was too arrogant in themselves, and every dude was like, "Yo, no man, I'm way more attracted to you." And then he started picking up dudes, and each of those dudes was kind of like, "Oh fuck, really? You're gonna make me do this?
Shit.
I don't look like you at all." Until he got to the one dude who looked exactly like him.
The last two guys he picked looked just like him.
The ethnic one, I was like, yeah, that's a funny
joke.
The
ethnic one, like, his face was identical.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. It was a little bit long. Like, he picked too many people, too. I'm just like, certain jokes, I'm just like, okay, you have a limit, and if you get over, like
3 at
exactly,
max.
yeah, but he picked, 5, I think, or, and I'm just like,
yeah, 5.
Like, I'm getting the joke, you know what I mean? Like, don't beat it too much. Like, I don't mind a joke being beat to death, but only if it's like a really funny one. Like then you can just like
don't beat a dead horse.
But if it's just an okay joke, which to me it was middling. Don't drag it on. Just get to it. Get to the punchline.
Speaking of getting to the punchline, Scott, what did you watch this week?
Well, we already covered a couple of what I watched because I did watch both those stand-up specials as well. I really loved Craig Ferguson. I always follow everything he does. I actually just recently started.
I like him because his first name's Craig.
Oh,
Craig.
Much like you like all the Scotts, I like all the Craigs. There aren't very many of them.
Yeah, I like that. I like him because he's Scottish.
Well, that's
Scottish.
I love. I'm gonna derail you for 2 seconds. Yeah. I love how thick his accent is, especially in his older stuff.
The best, yeah.
His older stand-up comedy. Besides the fact that he is high and drunk at the same time,
he had a problem.
You also can't understand a word he says because it is very, very thick.
It's
very thick, and he talks so fucking fast.
I know, and it's great.
Yeah, and
straight out of Glasgow.
It's great though. Like I always enjoyed and I enjoy his style, because he's kind of got he has fun. Like you can tell that he loves being a.
His whole thing feels like a monologue, is what it is.
That's the other reason I like it too, because I like a monologue.
Like his whole thing does feel like his Tonight Show monologue.
Yeah.
Or late show monologue.
Late show.
Yeah. Whatever it was.
The Late Show with Craig Ferguson.
One of those shows that is on after my bedtime.
It was called The Late Show with Craig Ferguson.
I know.
It wasn't one of them. It was the only one I would watch. Okay.
That one that I never watched once because I go to bed at a reasonable hour.
Well, that was the point in what I was saying.
Back in high school, I'd
anyway,
watch it.
Continue with what we watched this week.
Yes, but besides the couple stand-ups, I added a couple other stand-ups. I got to the Tom Segura one, which apparently wasn't as new as I thought.
No.
Still amazing.
Yeah, I just recently...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I've watched a Jerry Seinfeld Comedian, which is a 2002 documentary.
The documentary,
yeah, where you follow they follow him around and a couple other comedians.
Man, what's the name of this? What's the name of the opener that he has for that?
That's what I was about to talk about. I was like, I don't remember his name now, but because I was like, but I thought it was really funny that guy was such a fucking crybaby the whole movie. He's just like,
don't say that. I haven't seen it yet, and I like him. I just can't remember what his name is.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not a big.
Oh, look at that.
It's a documentary. There's no spoilers.
Orny Adams. I like Orny Adams.
You're just getting a little like.
No. I mean, you're making me. Yeah. It's just because I hadn't thought of Orny Adams like that.
Yeah, like, and I could maybe get that, like, based off of a little bit. It's just I feel like maybe they edited it bad too. Like, does that make sense? Like, they might have taken him out of context a lot more. But at the same time, he was a little bit too whiny for me. Like, there's a few things, like, he was complaining to Jerry Seinfeld about not making it yet. And I'm like, yo, man, you don't complain to a famous person about not making it yet. You know what you do? You go make it.
You fucking make it.
Yeah, you go fucking... like, this,
you don't go to Jerry Seinfeld, the most recognized comedian ever.
Like, Jerry's already helping this guy out by giving him the opening for Jerry Seinfeld. Like, man, if you don't think you've already partly made it, you need to reassess your, like, shit, which that guy talks about a lot in it, but it's just like, that's just what got to me a little bit. I'm just like, there's certain things that some people will do sometimes that I'm just like, oh, I just don't like you as a person now, because you're just like, you should have been raised better than that. Like,
yeah, that's like recording a song with T-Pain and then bitching to T-Pain about how you haven't made it in the music industry.
Exactly.
Because then T-Pain's like, bro, this is how you make it in the music industry. You have me feature on your fucking...
And go, your chorus. Whatever T-Pain does.
So what you're saying is that I should record a song with T-Pain.
That's exactly why you haven't made it yet, Craig.
Guess who we're re-recording?
Sing a song with T-Pain.
Theme songs.
Catcher Full of Rye.
I knew that's where you were going. I'm so happy.
Yeah. But what else I watched this week was all the rest of the DC mid-season finales. They're off for another month and a half, and when they come back, they'll be coming back with Black Lightning. Which wasn't racist. It's his actual name. I'm
That's actually the hero's name, Black Lightning.
People, apparently, I said
he isn't just called Lightning.
Before.
No, it's Black Lightning. And his suit is all black, except where he's got badass blue lightning bolts on that shit.
Yes, he looks dope. I'm really excited. This is another one of those characters I'm really excited for.
His beard is sweet.
I don't know anything about him. Like, I don't know anything about Black Lightning from, like, younger days at all. Like, I think he's
like a weird hybrid of being very well known and no one knows fuck all about him at the same time.
I'm super excited. Like, those are my favorite characters to learn about.
In a lot of the cartoons, he's there, and he plays like a prominent
I remember
role in the cartoons.
Up in Static Shock a couple times.
Yeah, but
didn't do anything.
Not unless you're like deep in comics, no one knows who the fuck he is. He just exists, and I love it.
Very few details, but I know about the show at least is it's centered around him. He's been retired for a little bit, and he gets brought back into the game to protect his family. And I'm like, yes.
Now, I'm not sure. Is this part of the Arrowverse, or do you think this is going to be one that's a standalone that gets brought into the Arrowverse later, like Supergirl?
Supergirl, yeah. It's something like Supergirl. Okay. But one thing they did establish, this is not a spoiler really, but one thing they did establish in the crossover, which I know you didn't see, they did establish that there are 52 worlds in their multiverse.
I saw that in the preview.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they put
which is like their pitch to the new 52.
Yeah, exactly. Which I'm just like, that's nice. Like, it's also nice for when they're doing these shows because it's also a back explanation, being like, oh yeah, no, he's just on Earth, whatever now. Like, and I like the fact that they've numbered some of them already. That we can now that like they can play with that fun. Like I always like if they maybe like start off as a bit more ambiguous, like we don't refer to anything else, and if eventually we want to make it's another world, or maybe he's on the same one as Supergirl, right? Or maybe he is on the same Arrow one, or maybe it's a completely new one. I'm okay with any of them as long as they do it smartly. Does that make sense? Like as long as it's not like too
maybe like there's the episode of Supergirl where Kara is talking with everyone, they're all out for beers.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, yeah, vigilantes, wearing the dark mask. He doesn't like when she's going through that thing and you think she's talking about Batman. I think it would be cool if she's actually talking about Black Lightning.
Exactly. That's exactly
like he is a vigilante who dealt with with Superman, and like he does have like his gadgets in the suit. So I think that would be cool to like transfer him in that way.
And I agree.
Because you just assume she's talking about Batman.
Yeah, well, I think that line...
I mean, it is Batman, but like if they could use that and like kind of twist it to make it...
There was 2 weeks of every DC episode, like every DC show had some kind of episode to one of the Justice League people. And it was leading up to Justice League coming out the week after that. So that was kind of planned for Batman. But I agree that it would be cool if they could still play it off because they didn't say Batman. So they were like, oh, no, that's who she was talking about.
Yeah. We never fucking said Batman, bro.
He was my cousin. He helps out.
Yeah.
When Aquaman gets a little like...
Bruce Wayne and Wade Enterprises over on Oliver Queen's place. So.
Exactly, which was pretty cool. When he made that reference, I was just overjoyed with that. But that's... Oh, the only other thing I watched this week was Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because it was recently added to Netflix. So I had to watch it because I like Marvel.
Because you had to watch it, yeah.
It's me. But that's all I watched this week. Andrew, did we get through all yours?
Yep, got through all mine. I watched everything Craig watched.
Okay, yeah.
Damn.
Craig and I typically discuss what we're watching, and it gets added to one of our queues.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well,
yeah.
This one ended up not being as short as we thought it would be.
No, we kind of promised off the top, and I feel bad because
it was shorter than last week.
Blame Craig partially.
And a half. What? I hardly said anything.
Shh. You're still telling now. Anyways, thanks for sticking with us this long, guys.
Episode 10 of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast.
Thanks for sticking with us for 10 episodes. Be sure to let us know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we're going to be talking about, what's it called? Christmas movies next week. So
our top Christmas movies.
So let us know in the comments if you guys have any top Christmas movies or any ones you'd like us to talk about. But
anything you want us to go check out so that we can talk, like we know off the top of our heads what we're talking about.
Exactly. So, thanks for listening, guys.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Bye.